APT, anterior pelvic tilt, equals hip flexion plus lumbar extension. That's the equation for an anterior pelvic tilt. So, we get up in the morning, sit down on the couch, while drinking our coffee, go through all our emails, check Facebook. If you're me, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn groups, YouTube groups. Get all that stuff done. Check my Yahoo Mail, my B2C email, my Google Mail, because we're just inundated with social media. So I've been sitting there for like a half an hour while I drink my smoothie, drink my coffee. I then get up, I walk around, right? Walk in, go around a little bit, come back home, sit down, put all my stuff together for this course. Once again, sit, seated. Only to get up, get in the cab. What do I do in a cab?
Sit.
Sit down. What position is that for my hips?
Flexion.
Hip flexion. So every time I've sat down, I've been
Inflection.
hip. Okay. And then, let's say I didn't do this course today. Let's say it was class instead. What do you think I do in class? Let's say I'm you today. Because this is my normal day, is being you guys. Right?
You're sitting.
I'm sitting, right? And of course, by the time I get done with this course, I'm going to want to get up and run around, right? Get myself out of hip flexion. I'm going to go home,
Sit.
get in a cab,
Watch more TV.
Yeah.
Sit
Relax.
down.
Chill out.
in a hip flex position, relax, right? Because it's been such a long, tiring day of being uber active, right? You guys are exhausted from being so active, I know. I've worked you out so hard today. So, how different is that from our clients?
It's not.
It's not, right? They really kind of, they do the same thing, only instead of in class, they're at work. They have desk jobs, they're not personal trainers, they don't even get up and stand around most of the time. They just sit in a hip flexed position. Well, what happens to a muscle that's been kept in a shortened position over and over and over again?
It's short.
It adaptively shortens. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use the range of motion you have, you will lose the range of motion you have. There is this argument of you need to activate, right? You need to use range of motion to get range of motion. This is one of the big Gary Gray things. The problem is he's set up an argument of omission by saying, not explicitly saying, but not saying that you have to statically stretch to get that range of motion back first. The truth is he's very right. If you statically stretch and then you don't use your new range of motion, you will lose it. However, if you don't have it, you can't move into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So given the psoas' shortened position, what do you think we should do with hip flexors?
Stretch them.
Yeah, you gotta stretch them. And in fact, if you ask me, you gotta statically stretch them. Because there's only one way to increase the length of fascia, and that's to get around the hypertonicity, the overactivity caused when we stretch a muscle. Because initially when you stretch a muscle, does the muscle relax or does it get more tense?
More tense.
It gets more tense. So then you're just pulling against muscle.
Say that again, when you stretch a muscle.
When you initially stretch a muscle, you pull a muscle into a lengthened position. Does it get relaxed or does it get more tense? It tenses up a little bit. And then if you hold it, then what happens? Then it relaxes. Once it relaxes, then you can affect the connective tissue. So you can affect the connective tissue, you can lengthen it, it'll start lengthening out. If it's adaptively shortened, it is in a shortened position like the psoas, that's what you have to do. Now, the truth of the matter is, though, I mean, you guys already knew that. I didn't have to explain that to you. You guys know the psoas major is tight. You're like, whatever. Brent, I got this. I got it. Stretch my psoas. What do we see most trainers do with the psoas?
Work it.
Work it. Why? They beat the hell out of the psoas because they think they're working abs.
Right.
You want to give yourself a challenge, and we might actually do this. There's an assignment in the core section. try to come up with a core routine that doesn't use hip flexion as a joint
Yeah.
action. Seriously.
Mhm.
I don't think we need short and strong psoas. You know, it's no wonder people come in with anterior pelvic tilts, right? And I'm like, yeah, I have low back pain. I went to my doctor. You know what my doctor said? He said strengthen my abs.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go strengthen my abs. And the first thing they do is sit-ups, right? Which is what joint action?
Hip flexion.
Hip flexion, and then they go over to the Roman chair, right?
Hip flexion.
Hip flexion, and then they go over and do these. You go, wow, really feel that in my low back. Hope that worked. Is that gonna help our problem any?
No.
No, probably not. So psoas, stretch or strengthen?
Stretch.
Stretch. I'm not saying you can never do hip flexion work ever again. But you should probably get your hip flexors back to optimal extensibility. Then you can slowly add, but monitor the situation.